Namco published 12 games for the Sega Genesis in North America. The immortal John Hancock here with another Sega Genesis ranking video. I've done several of these. The link will be below to the other ones. There's a wide variety of games that they released on the Sega Genesis. And the first one is Burning Force. Now, many Namco releases, they're known for their mega arcade hits. And, Burning Force is kind of middle of the road. It really tries to take a nod to a Space Harrier style game. It's pretty much a training simulator. You're trying to be like the ultimate pilot and you have to pass a test. And the test is over 6 different days and there's 4 areas per day. And so it's a 3D shooter. Does it work? I think it's okay. It's scaled down from the arcade. The arcade does look a lot better, but that doesn't matter as long as it's fun. My biggest complaint with this game is half of the areas you're just moving left or right. Unlike having the free roaming control of Space Harrier, half of the game you're moving just left or right. It doesn't really capture the feeling of moving really fast. And so there is some basic weapons. There's 2 different missile types. There's 3 basic lasers. And, there's boss fights. It's not a bad game. And there's going to be some. This is an early Genesis release, but, it does fall a little bit short. I'm going to give this a C. Next up is an awesome, cute platformer. It kind of reminds me of a cross between Blues Journey and Alex Kidd, and that's Marvel Land. This is another arcade port, but unlike Burning Force, I think this pulls it off much, much better. What it does is it takes that arcade game, stretches it to 29 levels. You're a prince and you're trying to rescue a princess and, in a kind of a carnival themed areas. And so this is a challenging platformer, but if you have overlooked Marvel Land, you're in for a treat. I think this is an excellent platformer. I like the power-ups. You get like a shadow of yourself. You can spin it around and take out enemies. You can get wings so you can jump higher. There's hidden stuff everywhere. It's really cool to go around and explore levels. Now, this is a challenging game. You're going to die quite a bit. I do think this is an excellent game. It is overlooked. Definitely check it out. And I'm going to give this an A. Another early release for the Sega Genesis was Powerball, a futuristic combat sport. It's kind of part mixed martial arts, a little bit of American football, a little bit of soccer. This is an okay game. I had a hard time playing the computer opponent, and it's 11 on 11, top-down perspective. There's several other games that are like this, and this kind of gets lost in the mix. There were some other games that Namco released for the Sega Genesis that I think were a little bit better. This one's just okay for me. I thought that the computer AI was brutal, and it just doesn't work for me. Unfortunately, Powerball, I think is going to be enjoyed better with another person. There is a league mode, and there's some different things in this game. I for one love sports games, and this is a C. It is average. It is maybe worth checking out if you like these types of futuristic combat games. Next up is, I think, an above-average puzzle game, Pack Attack. I like it. Is it good as Tetris or Columns? No, I don't think so. But I think it's a clever use of the PacMan license. With a couple different modes. There's a puzzle mode. There's 100 basic levels. There is a versus mode. It was ported on several different things. I like Pack Attack. I can play a Pack Attack. It's kind of a cool sit back, cash, and play game. This works for me. I find myself kind of going back to more and more puzzle games. Maybe that comes with age. I don't know. I like it. This is a B. Ooh, Namco sometimes experimented with Pac-Man doing some different things, and they definitely were experimenting with Pac-Man 2: The New Adventures. Now, this is a point-and-click adventure. You're not actually controlling Pac-Man. This doesn't work for me. I hate this game. I don't like playing this game. The only thing that this game redeems itself with is there's 2 codes that has Pac-Man, like a 16-bit adaptation of Pac-Man, and it's okay. And there's also Pac Jr. taking 4 levels from Ms. Pac-Man, but you're controlling Pac Jr. And so I don't like this game at all. I don't think it works. It's not fun to play. I'm not going to go back and play it. Avoid it. This is terrible. This is an F. Next up is a vertical shooter loosely based on Greek mythology, and that's Filios. Now, another arcade port. It does have scaled down graphics from the arcade. I think this is a decent vertical shooter. Am I going to play it over Fire Shark or other vertical shooters on the Sega Genesis? No. But I do think that it's a little breath of fresh air. It doesn't have the spaceship theme. It has a little bit something different. It is rather difficult. You have a charged up shot. You have decent power-ups. It is rather challenging though. This is one of the more challenging shooters. There is an easy mode, but you can only play 4 stages if you do that. The full mode on hard is 7, and you can unlock an even more difficult mode after you beat that. So I think it's a decent setting, fun to play, but hard to master. I'm going to give this a B. Here are the rankings so far, the first 6. Sometimes it's hard to go back to one of the originals, and this is an early off-road racing game for consoles, and that's Quad Challenge. The arcade game that it was based on was called 4 Tracks, and unfortunately this is just a bare bones racer. It doesn't work for me. You know, you have some choices of some different ATVs. There's just not much here to go back and play. I really think that, you know, going back to like PlayStation 2, the off-road racing games have gotten so much better. And this just doesn't have a lot of appeal to me. It might be something you grew up with. I don't like this game. This is a D. When Namco did an arcade port right, they knocked it out of the park. And that's what I think of Rolling Thunder 2. It takes the essence of this awesome arcade game and ports it to the Sega Genesis. Yeah, it's a little bit scaled back, but they also added some new stages and refined it. The control is really tight. Let's talk about that co-op. Co-op is where it's at with this game. I think it's one of the best games that they released for the Sega Genesis. And if you're a fan of the arcade game, you're going to like this one. Controlling one of 2 players. This is great. Oh my goodness. I haven't played it in quite a bit. I'm going back and checking it out. This is definitely one I highly recommend. This is an S. They followed up Rolling Thunder 2 and changed it to make it a little bit easier, and unfortunately took out the 2-player co-op, which I thought was quite the appeal with Rolling Thunder 2. So Rolling Thunder 3, you're kind of controlling a more generic character. There is a code you can play as a female, but honestly, Rolling Thunder 3 has a lot going for it. While it does take away that co-op, it does add some additional things, some additional weapons, really nice stages. It is a Sega Genesis exclusive as well. So I do like that they tried to do something different and they tried to continue. I think this ends the trilogy of Rolling Thunders on a decent note. Is it as good as Rolling Thunder 2? I think graphically it is, but otherwise it's not. I still give this an A. I love these types of games. And so, you know, if you're a fan of the Rolling Thunder series and you haven't played this one or maybe didn't know about it, Rolling Thunder 3 is a solid release. It's an A. Next, Namco continued the gory series of Splatterhouse on the Sega Genesis. And what you get with Splatterhouse 2 is more the same. Now, I know there's fans of this game in particular. And you know you're Rick, you're trying to go back. You think your girlfriend is dead, but there's still a chance to save her, and so you're going back to try to save Jennifer. Putting on the terror mask, while you take away the gory setting, okay, I know some people really love that setting and that gore. That doesn't do much for me. I thought that the gameplay, to be quite honest, was a little too slow for me. Character sprites are big, there's some really creative enemies, and yes, there's tons of gore in this game, and so this is not for everybody. You know, Splatterhouse series, you know, for this game in particular, it's good, but it's not great for me. I know that's going to disappoint some people. It might be their favorite game. Well, you can rank it yourself. The link is below. For me, this is a B. Namco took the Splatterhouse series and changed it up with Splatterhouse 3. Now, some people don't like what they did. Essentially, you can choose where you go in the mansion, and you're going back to, of course, to try to save your girlfriend. They took an action game and made it more of a brawler. I like it. I like this game. Typically, I don't like a timer, but I think a timer works in this game. You can get a power-up and you can utilize that. It plays much more like a brawler. I like that. Now, for a lot of people, they like Splatterhouse II better than 3. I'm gonna buck that and say that I like Splatterhouse III better than 2. I think it's a better game, and I'm gonna give this an A. Yes, check it out. Both Splatterhouse games are good. I like 3 better than 2, and I know most people don't. All right, last and definitely not least is a complicated fighting game for the Sega Genesis. Now, I grew up with Street Fighter II and Mortal Kombat, and I really liked those games. At the end, kind of the end of the cycle of 16-bit consoles, there was Weapon Lord. Now, Weapon Lord is a complicated fighter, and I think honestly it's better on Super Nintendo. The Sega Genesis one has a little bit muddy graphics. It is slower, but it is a really good fighting game if you give it a chance. The moves, the best way to describe the moves, pulling off the moves, is it's a cross between Street Fighter II, but it's more kind of Primal Rage. There's slashes and parries, and there is special moves for all 7 different characters in this game. It's a slower fighter. It's not going to be for everybody. Give this one a chance. This is not a pick up and play game. This takes a lot to master. Give it some time. Check it out. Play with a friend. I think that's the benefit of this game. Some people really like the graphics and the themes in this. To me, it's just so-so. It is different. I do like that they tried to really, really make an outstanding fighting game. And I think for Weapon Lord, if you're going to check it out between the Super Nintendo and Genesis, honestly, I'm going to recommend the Super Nintendo one, as I think it's a little bit better. At the end of the day, I'm going to give this a B. I think it's decent. It's not going to be for everybody. I'm going to play Street Fighter II over this. So here it is. Here's my ranking of all 12 Namco games. So what did you think? Comment below, as I would love to hear your thoughts and your stories of any of these games. Did you play any of these games? And as always, thank you for watching. This is the Immortal John Hancock. Thank you for watching, and you have a good day.